Hello and welcome to this video about the biblical prophecies that turned true about Iran. This is the first video of a series we make about biblical prophecies that came right about different countries. In this video, we will explore some of the amazing predictions that the Bible made about the history and destiny of Iran, also known as Persia or Elam, and how they have been fulfilled in remarkable ways. Iran has influenced and been influenced by various cultures and empires throughout its history, such as the Elamites, the Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, the Arabs, the Mongols, and the Turks. Iran has also played a significant role in the development of art, literature, philosophy, science, religion, and spirituality, especially in the fields of Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Sufism. Iran is also a very important country in the biblical prophecies, as it is mentioned several times. One of the most ancient and influential civilizations that originated in Iran was Elam. Elam was a civilization that existed in what is now southwestern Iran, from about 2700 BC to 539 BC, when it was somewhat peacefully absorbed into the Persian Empire. The first prophecy we will look at is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 21, verse 1 to 2, which mentions Elam as one of the nations that will bring about the demise of Babylon.
Like whirlwinds sweeping through the southland, an invader comes from the desert, from a land of terror. A dire vision has been shown to me. The traitor betrays, the looter takes loot. Elam, attack. Media, lay siege. I will bring to an end all the groaning she caused.
Media and Elam were known and existing at the time of Isaiah, but Persia was not. This prophecy was fulfilled in history when the Medes and the Persians, led by Cyrus the Great, invaded and conquered Babylon in 539 BC, ending the Babylonian captivity of the Jews and allowing them to return to their land. The traitor and the looter in this prophecy refer to the Babylonians themselves, who had betrayed and plundered many nations, including the Jewish people, the Assyrians, and the Egyptians, the last two of which were their former allies. The traitors can also be pointing to the guards of the Babylon fortress who left the gates open, allowing the Persians to enter and conquer the city. Cyrus was also the one who issued the decree that authorized the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, as prophesied by Isaiah and Jeremiah. Cyrus was also called by Bible as God's anointed, or his Messiah, in Isaiah 45 verse 1, a remarkable title for a king. Cyrus was also the founder of the Persian Empire, which became one of the greatest and most benevolent empires in history. Although we have to appreciate the esoteric wisdom in most parts of the Bible in general, we do see a subtle contradiction here. In Isaiah 21 verse 1, the Persians or Medes are called an invading nation coming from the land of terror. However, later in Isaiah 45 verse 1, Cyrus, the leader of this land of terror, is called the Messiah, a title that was also given to Jesus Christ. There is no doubt that Cyrus was an ambitious territorial expansionist, and his army did kill and enslave a fair amount of people when they conquered Lydia just before taking over Babylon. Calling an expansionist leader who did commit some brutality the anointed one or the Messiah just because he saved the Jews is far-fetched and discriminative to a civilized 21st century mind, unless like some theologians we argue that the land of terror is pointing to Babylon itself. However, it seems like most theologians are in favor of the former theory. One of the most striking prophecies about Elam is found in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verses 35 to 39. This prophecy was given by the prophet Jeremiah in the early 6th century BC, shortly before the fall of Jerusalem to the Babylonians.
This is what the Lord Almighty says. See, I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. I'll bring against Elam the four winds from the four quarters of heaven. I'll scatter them to the four winds, and there will not be a nation where Elam's exiles do not go. I'll shatter Elam before their foes, before those who want to kill them. I will bring disaster on them, even my fierce anger. I'll pursue them with the sword until I have made an end of them. I will set my throne in Elam and destroy our king and officials. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Elam in days to come.
How have these predictions been fulfilled in history? Well, let's take a look at some of the major events that have shaped the fate of Iran and its people. The first wind that blew upon Elam was the wind of the Greeks, led by Alexander the Great, who invaded and conquered the Persian Empire in the 4th century BC. Alexander destroyed many of the cities and monuments of Elam, including Susa, and looted its treasures and archives. He also killed many of the Elamites and Persians, and forced many others to flee or to assimilate into the Hellenistic culture. Alexander's conquest marked the end of the Elamite and Persian independence and identity, and the beginning of a long period of foreign domination and influence. This invasion and conquest was also predicted by another biblical prophecy, found in the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verses 1 to 9, which depicts a vision of a ram and a goat, representing the kingdoms of Media Persia and Greece, respectively.
In the 3rd year of King Belshazzar's reign, I, Daniel, had a vision, after the one that had already appeared to me. In my vision I saw myself in the citadel of Susa in the province of Elam. In the vision I was beside the Ulai Canal. I looked up, and there before me was a ram with 2 horns, standing beside the canal, and the horns were long. One of the horns was longer than the other, but grew up later. I watched the ram as it charged toward the west and the north and the south. No animal could stand against it, and none could rescue from its power. It did as it pleased and became great.
The ram with 2 horns symbolizes the kingdom of Media Persia, which was a powerful and expansive empire that ruled over many nations, including Elam. The longer horn represents Persia, which was stronger and more dominant than Media, and emerged later than Media.
As I was thinking about this, suddenly a goat with a prominent horn between its eyes came from the west, crossing the whole earth without touching the ground. It came toward the 2-horned ram I had seen standing beside the canal and charged at in great rage. I saw it attack the ram furiously, striking the ram and shattering its 2 horns. The ram was powerless to stand against it. The goat knocked it to the ground and trampled on it, and none could rescue the ram from its power. The goat became very great, but at the height of its power the large horn was broken off, and in its place 4 prominent horns grew up toward the 4 winds of heaven.
The goat with a large horn symbolizes the kingdom of Greece, which was a fast and aggressive empire that conquered the world under Alexander the Great. The large horn represents Alexander himself, who defeated the Medo-Persian Empire and took over its territory. However, Alexander died young and his empire was divided among his 4 generals, who ruled over 4 regions: Macedonia, Syria, Egypt, and Asia Minor. These are the 4 smaller horns that grew out of the large horn. The second wind that blew upon Elam was the wind of the Arabs, who invaded and conquered Iran in the 7th century AD, following the rise of Islam. The Arabs imposed their religion, language, and culture on the Iranian people, and persecuted those who resisted or refused to convert. Many of the ancient Iranian traditions, beliefs, and customs were lost or suppressed, and many of the Iranian monuments and temples were destroyed or converted into mosques. The Arab conquest marked the end of the Zoroastrian religion and the native Iranian dynasties, and the beginning of a long period of Islamic rule and influence. The third wind that blew upon Elam was the wind of the Mongols, who invaded and conquered Iran in the 13th century AD, following the campaigns of Genghis Khan and his successors. The Mongols massacred millions of Iranians and razed many of the cities and villages of Iran, including Susa, to the ground. They also plundered and burned many of the libraries and schools of Iran, and destroyed much of its cultural and scientific heritage. The Mongol conquest marked the end of the Khwarezmian dynasty, the beginning of a long period of political and social instability and fragmentation. Mongols' reign caused many Iranians to relocate, and one of most known people who immigrated during this era was Rumi, one of the greatest mystic poets of the world, who moved from Balkh and finally settled in Konya in today's Turkey. Yet Rumi never explicitly named and condemned the Mongols in his poems for their massacres and brutality. If you want to learn more about Rumi's nationality and the story of his immigration, you can see this clip up here. The fourth wind that blew upon Elam was the wind of the Turks, who invaded and conquered Iran in the 14th century AD, following the campaigns of Timur and his successors. Timur was a ruthless and ambitious warlord who sought to revive the Mongol Empire and to establish his own world domination. He invaded Iran several times and inflicted enormous devastation and suffering on the Iranian people. He also captured and enslaved many of the Iranian artists, craftsmen, and scholars, and transported them to his capital, Samarkand, where he built magnificent monuments and buildings. The Turkish conquest marked the end of the Persianized Mongolite dynasties, and the beginning of another long period of Persianized Turkic dynasties. These four winds, the Greeks, the Arabs, the Mongols, and the Turks, have blown upon Elam and Iran, and have scattered its people to every nation. Throughout history, millions of Iranians have been displaced, exiled, or migrated to other lands, where they have faced various challenges and opportunities, especially Zoroastrians, who are Iran's largest non-Muslim religious minority, and who have been subjected to persecution and discrimination by the Muslim rulers and the majority population. One of the examples of the Iranian migration and dispersion is the recent immigration of millions of Iranians after the Islamic Revolution, who left Iran for various reasons, such as political, religious, or economic, and settled in different countries, such as the United States, Canada, Europe, Australia, and others. They are known as the Iranian Diaspora. The Islamic Revolution could still be counted as the aftermath of Arab invasion and their hardline Islamic ideas. Although Islamic-minded Persians gradually developed their own version of Islam called Shia, many barbaric Islamic laws such as cutting the thief's hands remained in it. If you want to know more about some of these barbaric Islamic and Quranic laws, click this clip up here. Many also immigrated because of oppressing Islamic laws that were against their lifestyle, such as hijab, ban of dance, music, singing and liquor, especially for women. Many Baha'is, who are another religious minority in Iran, had to leave their country as they faced severe repression and harassment by the Iranian authorities, who consider them as heretics and apostates. The Baha'is believe in the unity of God, the unity of religions, and the unity of humanity, and share the final spiritual message of Rumi, the famous Persian poet and mystic, who taught the love of God and the tolerance of other ideologies, which is opposite to the Islamic laws which encourage the punishment and even beheading of atheists and non-religious people. But the prophecy of Jeremiah does not end with the scattering of Elam. It also promises the restoration of Iran in the latter days. God says that He will bring back the captives of Elam, and that He will have mercy on them. This means that God has not forgotten or forsaken Elam and Iran, but that He has a plan and a purpose for them. God says that He will set His throne in Elam, and that He will overthrow its king and princes. This means that God will establish His kingdom and His rule in Elam and Iran, and that He will judge its rulers and leaders. How will this promise be fulfilled in the future? Well, we do not know the exact details or the timing of God's plan, but we can look at some of the signs and clues that point to its fulfillment. One of the signs is the dissatisfaction and discontent of the Iranian people with the Islamic rules and regulations that have restricted and oppressed their freedom and dignity. Many Iranians have rejected or resisted the Islamic laws and norms that have been imposed on them, such as the hijab, the dress code for women, or the prohibition of dancing. Many Iranians have also expressed their desire and demand for a secular and democratic government that respects and protects their human rights and civil liberties. Many Iranians have also shown their interest and curiosity in other purer spiritual worldviews such as Sufism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism in their more pure and unorthodox forms that offer them a different perspective and hope. Another sign is the intervention and involvement of the international community and the global media in the affairs and issues of Iran, that have exposed and challenged the tyranny and corruption of the Islamic regime, and have supported and encouraged the aspirations and movements of the Iranian people. Many media outlets and platforms have also reported and documented the realities and struggles of the Iranian people, and have provided them with information and communication tools that have empowered and inspired them. These signs indicate that God is at work in Elam and Iran, and that He is preparing the way for His kingdom and His rule. Another prophecy that mentions Iran is the one found in Ezekiel 38 verses 1-6, which describes a future invasion of Israel by a coalition of nations led by a leading country from north.
The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, This is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets, also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you.
This prophecy warns of a battle, called Armageddon, that has not been fulfilled yet, but some believe that it may happen soon, especially in light of the current tensions and conflicts in the Middle East. According to the rest of this prophecy, God will intervene to protect Israel and destroy the invading armies, resulting in a great display of His power and glory. Some believe that the invading nations in this prophecy other than Iran could be Russia, China, and Turkey, or Lebanon, as it describes a nation from the far north. However, this is not certain, as the Bible does not give a clear identification of these names. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you want to learn more about the religions, their history, their fulfillment, and their shortcomings, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. We aim to provide you with unbiased and accurate information about the diverse and complex religious phenomena that shape our world. We hope to inspire you to think critically and independently, and to respect and appreciate the diversity of human beliefs and experiences. May God keep us all away from radicalism, nationalism, and religionism, and get us close to humanity, unity, and interconnection.